Good afternoon, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm bringing another video to you on a subject that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know. And I just watched an old recording of a speech made by former President Ronald Reagan, and I will not make any kind of statements about my own opinion regarding the Reagan presidency and his administration. There are a lot of strong feelings if you ask people about Reagan. He was a kind of a hot button for everybody when he was president, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the speech in particular in which he is addressing, interestingly, both the American public and the Japanese prime minister in the same speech. As an aside, I don't believe they do this anymore. I believe that the target audiences are quite a bit more specific now for whatever reasons, which may or may not be concerning, but that's an aside. In this speech, and I'm going to link it in the description, of course, you can review it at your leisure, he is asking the American public to urge Congress to not block the president's ability to impose tariffs on foreign trade. He says it's very important, and he goes on at length about how he understands completely that tariffs are like morphine, give or take, for lack of a better way to say it, in terms of economic impact and the types of effects it has on the economy. He says tariffs are bad, we don't like them. He understands all of their pitfalls and evils, but he says this case in particular, in which he wants to use them against Japan in trade of semiconductors, is a special case. He says that it's called for, there is a lot of reason for it, and he wants to retain his power to impose those tariffs on Japan. And again, he's addressing both the Japanese prime minister in this speech as well as the American public. I want to say something objectively, like from kind of a bird's eye view of what I understand about international trade and politics. I do believe that any president, including Reagan, is probably going to say something populist at best. He's going to try, in this case he did, appeal to the reason of the people who may be objecting to what he's asking for. So you can expect him to include some sugar with the pill, so to speak, if you're familiar with the saying. And he does a great deal of this in his speech. He says, I completely understand. He goes on and on about the Great Depression and how imposing tariffs is beneficial locally, but it harms the country's prosperity in the long run by damaging international relations and trade itself. So, which should be kind of obvious if you're familiar with the idea of world trade and its benefits, its costs, and the courage needed to do it. Anyhow, I believe ended up, by the sound of it, he ended up imposing the tariffs. He had the ability. At the time of the speech, he was concerned about Congress passing legislation to block his ability to impose tariffs. So he had a green light at the time of the speech to do what he was trying to do and what he was proposing. I'm not sure if it got rolled out. I can only assume it did. So here's the thing, though, about world trade. Trade between countries is no different than trade between tribes. It creates peace. It's a powerful incentive for peace. That is to say, you can either do business with another tribe or country, or you can be at war with them. You can be in competition for resources, or you can enjoy peace while you're sharing in resources in a business fashion. This is kind of a basic and well-known idea, and it's the premise for what I understand to be the former World Trade Center. It was all about that idea originally. It was about facilitating and growing international business for the purpose of spreading peace and ensuring it, supporting it, upholding it, and trying to displace some of the war tendencies with business tendencies, because it's kind of one or the other in many cases. So anyway, that's also not directly connected, but check out the link if you're interested in hearing Reagan speak about it. Reach out with questions or comments to whitehotrobot@gmail.com. Thank you.